This is Dave in Lansing, and I'm curious, just how is it that Michigan became the birthplace of Coney dogs? How did we become the Coney dog capital of the world?
The recipe is simple. Hot dog, bun, ladle of meat sauce, raw diced onions, and a blurb of mustard. That's a Coney dog. Seems like there wouldn't be much variety from restaurant to restaurant. Oh, but there is. Ask 10 Michiganders where the best Coneys, the real Coneys, are made, and you will get 10 different responses. But here's what every Michigander knows. Despite our nation's debt to Coney Island, New York, for the development of the modern hot dog, Michiganders added meat sauce on top of a natural casing dog in a steamed bun base to give rise to the superior form of the Coney. And yes, it's got to be a meat sauce, not chili.
A true Coney dog does not have beans at all in the chili. So if I see a bean, it's really a chili dog. So
yeah.
A Coney dog is really a beanless chili, or it's a meat, or what we call the Flint style is really a meat topping, which it doesn't even resemble chili at all. It's just usually ground beef. Some of them have beef hearts in it. So it's very different from a chili dog.
This is On Hand, a podcast answering your questions about all the things that make this state unique. I'm April Baer. Today, where does the Coney dog come from, and who makes it the best? We're going to get to the sizzling history of the dog itself, but we need to start in the place where you get the dish in the first place, the Coney Island Diner. Coney menus are more than just hot dogs, and the list of opinions about who does it best is even longer.
Hi, everyone. Follow me as I'm taking you to a classic. American Coney Island is located
Lafayette Coney Island is Detroit. Since 1924,
dish to enjoy in downtown Detroit. Check out American Coney Island.
You can't really talk about Coney dogs without hearing about the neighboring stalwarts in downtown Detroit, Lafayette Coney Island and American Coney Island. In fact, these two are so close, if you Google the name of one of them, pictures of both will show up in your search. Founded by Gust Karos, a fresh immigrant from Greece, American Coney Island served lunch to working people starting in 1917. Then Gust's brother William comes over. Family helps family, right? Next thing you know, Lafayette Coney Island is open for business right next door. This kind of collaborative/competitive relationship, it's a big part of the Michigan Coney story. Entrepreneurs coming over here wanted proven business models, and often affordable, filling food was the way to go. If you're related to someone who already knows the ropes, you've got a plan. Most folks who've spent time in Detroit claim a favorite. Lafayette has the better meat sauce, or American has the snappier casing. But there are many Detroiters who will say, if you're only talking about American and Lafayette, you're getting the whole Coney conversation all wrong.
If I'm downtown and I want some Coney, I will make the trip out of downtown and go get some Coney. I'm not stopping at American or Lafayette to get no Coney. And if you telling people to go to American or Lafayette, you need to lose some kind of points or something on a scale of Detroiterism. I don't know. No disrespect.
That is Damon Smith. This social media video he made went crazy, showing that there are tons of people who agree with him. But Damon insists he's not just throwing shade here. He just wants people to know there's more than just two options for Coney dogs, and you're missing some great restaurants.
I'm Damon on the Instagram and TikTok. I'm What Up Though Dame, and I'm just a West Side Detroiter with an opinion, that's all.
Coney enthusiast.
Coney enthusiast.
I met Damon at one of his favorite Coney Islands. Food sizzling on the grill, music playing on the radio. Can you explain where we are right now?
We are at the legendary El George's on 6th Mile and Schaefer in the heart of the west side of Detroit, one of the most iconic and best Coney Islands in the city.
El George's has quite a few locations in Michigan, but this original is long and low with bright, well-scrubbed blue tile decor and chrome polished up to a shine. On either side of the cashier are a line of tall stools, making you think of those old-style lunch counters where Coneys were invented. How long have you been eating here?
I've been eating here since a teenager, early 2000s, late 90s. I actually went to high school not too far, what used to be a high school, St. Martin de Porres, is gone now. And there was a nice little music shop right down the street I used to go to a lot, sell tapes and CDs, a local Detroit hip-hop artist. So I've been in this area, back and forth, around the Coney and in the Coney for some time now.
The menu at El George's has a little something for everyone. We saw this one cook laying mustard down on a whole regiment of 6 conies lined up like soldiers, ready to go in their containers, all balanced up his arm. But they also serve all the breakfast. Omelets with gyro meat, grilled green peppers and onions, eggs cooked delicately, not scorched into submission. There's a full range of sandwiches here: Reubens, grilled cheese, fried fish, fried chicken. The star of the show these days is something called the Bronx Wrap. It's the shape of a burrito, all loaded up with tender, flavorful grilled chicken, bacon, grilled onions, green peppers and cheese, griddled together with a sprinkling of herbs. Oh yeah, and when you're ready for something healthy, get ready to tuck into the biggest, crunchiest Greek salad you have ever seen, with a special pink Greek dressing made from pureed beets. This menu, best I've seen, is a great reminder that a great Coney restaurant is more than just Coney's.
For me, I don't have a usual thing, as long as I'm for sure getting chili cheese fries. That's mini Coney, but from here in particular, they have really good chicken. Their grilled chicken is really good. So the pitas, things like that. Their salads are really good. They pack the chicken on, but chili cheese fries is my any Coney.
Now, Damon's critique of those 2 certain downtown Coneys is not a territorial thing. He told us that he just thinks that a good Coney, like El George's, is not about hype. It's about a combination of the food, the service, the experience, and maybe also the reliability. What do you think it is that really makes the difference between this place and other Coneys around town?
The consistency. It's clean. The staff is usually pretty nice and helpful. Just the location, especially the location. There's a couple of big high schools right around here. You got very popular bars and everything around here. So
part of the reason we wanted to talk to you about this is you made this video about Coney's and other kinds of iconic Detroit food that got, shall we say, a lot of attention. Do you mind explaining what was on your mind?
Actually, it was inspiration from some video from other creators. I see videos of them coming to visit in Detroit, and they always go to the same places that might not particularly be a Detroiter's first option. Not saying that they're bad places, but when you come here, you want to get that Detroit experience. What are the most Detroiters are going to? You know what I mean? That was my inspiration. It was not to down talk. It might have came off a little comedy to it, but just to.
No offense meant.
Yeah, no disrespect.
Why do you think the same places get recommended over and over and over again?
I think that as a Detroiter, there's certain aspects of a good Coney, that's pretty consistent. And they usually are in areas that a person not outside of Detroit might not be familiar with or be comfortable with being at, without knowing the area. So I think people sometimes recommend certain Coneys because you're not going to run into any issues. You're going to go in there and it's going to be like a touristy vibe, you know what I mean? Another thing that plays into it, Detroiters are real nostalgic. We have a memory of a place we went to and had a good meal. We'd be loyal to that place and go to that place, or even if the others might feel like the quality went down, they might not notice it because they're loyal to that place. Detroiters are real nostalgic about anything Detroit. If you go through that video, actually, all the comments, if they're with me or against me, they have a story of why they feel that way. And usually, like I said, Detroiters they stick with their nostalgia and their story, and they'll love a place forever. You know what I mean?
Well, Damon, thank you for talking to us.
No problem. I'm glad you reached out to me.
You ready to get something to eat?
Absolutely, yeah.
Damon Smith. He's on Instagram and TikTok as whatupdo_Dame. It's hard to go far in this state without seeing a Coney-style diner, but how did the Coney itself get here in the first place? More history of our diners and our dogs when we return. So where did Coneys come from? And why is Michigan the Coney capital?
Okay, so that's the, mystery question that has long plagued Coney dogs.
Katherine Yung is a business reporter who used to write for the Detroit Free Press. She lives in Boston now. She's the co-author of a book called Coney Detroit that provides us with solid historical research into the question of Coney provenance. Her collaborator, another Free Press alum who had the idea for a Coney book, Michigan State journalism professor Joe Grimm.
I have about 40 pounds of personal history with Coneys. I've enjoyed them a long time. Katherine and I were working at the Free Press right down the street from Lafayette and American, and I told her about this project at, I'll just say, one of those shops. And she hit the table and said, "I want to write this book."
It is the signature, we consider the signature food of Michigan and of Detroit. So, there's the Philly cheesesteak in Philadelphia, where this is our Coney dog is it for Michigan and for Detroit in particular.
Coney Island, the place, is in Brooklyn, New York. And hot dog history has it that sausages of various kinds were being sold there early in the 1800s. There are multiple American stories about whether Coney Island, New York, is the birthplace of the thing that makes a hot dog, the bun. You'll find stories from Manhattan to Baltimore to St. Louis claiming first use of sausage and oblong-shaped bread in concert. But many food historians agree that a German baker on Coney Island, Charles Feldman, had a stand selling sausages in steamed buns in 1867. Mind you, he was not serving them with Coney sauce. And it was on Coney Island where, in the 19-teens, these sausages started to resemble what we would now bite into and say, that tastes like a hot dog. It is here, Katherine Yung is sorry to report, the Coney Trail grows cold.
We discovered through our research that a lot of the early Coney dogs first began being sold by Greek and immigrants, and also immigrants from Macedonia. Unfortunately, and I did extensive research on this, everyone would love to have the place like this was the birthplace of the Coney dog, but unfortunately that has been lost to history. It's we don't really know. Now, what we can say is that a lot of these Greek immigrants and some Macedonian ones, they started selling Coney dogs in different states. So I can't say that it's definitively Michigan, unfortunately. But we're talking in the early 1910s and early part of that 21st century.
Once we get to our recorded history, what did you find about the evidence that we have of the first actual Coney Island restaurant in Michigan?
We found Coney dogs going back to 1917. Dooley's Place, I think, was 1917. And, we combed the city directories of Detroit, and also Jackson was early into Coney Islands too, so I don't want to leave them out. Even Kalamazoo has a Coney Island date that dates back to, I think, 1915 or 1916.
I'd always heard that Todorof's in Jackson was the first. Did you find any evidence that would confound that assertion?
We could not establish that. In fact, I'm trying to remember, it's been a while now since I looked closely at the Jackson history, but it was there, Jackson has a wonderful Coney Island history. At one time, there were 3 Coney Islands on a single block in downtown. They had a train station, obviously, that stopped there and brought a lot of traffic into that area. But I remember I looked at the dates for Todorof, and they were not the first one.
Wow.
Not the first Coney Island.
That Jackson has had a campaign to claim the authorship of Coney Island. There was a newspaper columnist behind some of this, and I challenged him on this, and he said, look, just because you can't prove something doesn't mean it's not true.
How's that? If that's not a sentence for our times, I don't know
I'll tell
what
you
is.
what. But I think when we looked, we found people in Jackson who said, no, they have not been around as long as they say, which meant they were not around as long as even the Detroit ones were. And the Detroit ones that exist now were not the first ones in Detroit. Before American and Lafayette existed, there were a lot of lunch counters in Detroit selling Coney dogs and chop suey, that famous Chinese dish that no one in China knows about. Coney places came and went, and nobody said, oh, this is really important. We should record this as the first.
Geez, Joe, I mean, it sounds like there's a lot riding on the bragging rights.
Oh, yeah. Jump in.
I think what's important for Michiganders to know is that there are still several Coney Islands that have been around for more than 100 years now, and that's something to celebrate. What we can say definitively is that Michigan, and Detroit in particular, is the Coney capital of the world. And it has the most Coney dogs, restaurants, the actual food itself everywhere.
Coney's, as we talk about them today, has come to mean so much more than just Coney dogs. I mean, 9 times out of 10, when someone's talking about a Coney, they mean the Coney Island restaurant now. Did you get much of a sense when you were working on the book how we went in Michigan from having the Coney as Coney dog to the culture of Coneys, these Coney Island restaurants, which you can find in so many communities?
So, yes, the Coney Island has evolved from just serving just only Coney dogs and not much else really, because our culture has changed. And especially when, you had Coney Islands moving out to the suburbs from downtown Detroit, getting into shopping malls, and it became a place, to meet. Like Joe and I found that they were becoming like the Coney Islands were like the diners of Michigan.
I want to tell you about one place. I pulled into the parking lot. There was a big sign up there that said Coney Island. I went in. There were no Coneys.
What?
I said, I'd like a Coney dog. He said, we don't have Coney dogs. Chicken. And I said, but your sign says Coney Island. He says, look, if you don't have a sign that says Coney Island, people won't know it's a restaurant. It's gone that far.
Katherine Yung and Joe Grimm. Their book, Coney Detroit, has gone through multiple printings and is still an invaluable Bible for Coney enthusiasts. They visited dozens of favorite Coney Island restaurants, from chains to standalone icons, Pontiac to Port Huron, and from Flint to Clarkston. We want to give a big thanks to listener David Vick for asking us about Coney history. We're here to answer all of your Michigan questions and to hear your Coney stories. Did something crazy happen to you on your latest late-night Coney run? Or maybe a special someone, those eyes meeting over the counter, a plate of Coney fries shared? Send us your stories and your questions by filling out the form at the On-Hand landing page at michiganpublic.org. Or you can just send us an email. The address is onhand@michiganpublic.org. There's a link in today's podcast notes as well. Maybe your Coney story will be featured next week. Today's episode of On Hand was produced by me, April Baer. Special thanks to digital producer Kalole Bat for being my Coney ride or die, tripping across the Coneys of the Lower Peninsula. You can see all our videos at the Michigan Public Instagram page or on TikTok. Other producers are Mike Blank, Ronia Kabansag, Michelle Jokic-Polo, April Van Buren, and of course our show's senior producer, Mercedes Mejia, and our big Coney kahuna, Laura Weber-Davis, the executive producer. I'm April Baer, shoveling down one last bite for the team. Oh, my stomach. We'll see you next week.